Okay, so just to repeat again, so basically I'm talking about Kappa DC REIT, which has broken out from its resistance. The volume is pretty high. Okay, it's a pretty good volume, and the best is for it to go further tomorrow to hit 309 and have a gradual pullback on a decreasing volume. Right, so on the volume that decrease lower and lower, and there form some support or find some support over here. Price hold at 301, then start to see some rebound. So once it start to rebound from here, no doubt it may go back to 309 where you're looking at, but the whole chart start to look bullish because you can start to see a type of formation, what we call cup and handle. Right, so you can see the whole base from here, then eventually it may have a breakout. Right, so if you had a breakout here, then we can have a price projection. So where's the breakout? The breakout is above 309. Right, then we can have a price projection where the stocks may hit 3.31. So this REIT is a very good REIT, I must say. Unfortunately, this REIT is not in my investment portfolio because the yield is too low. Right, judging by how the price goes up, it looks like more like a growth stocks rather than a dividend stocks. The yield is about 2 to 3%. So that's why it took me a very long time to consider to buy this counter. But the more that I think, the more the price went up. So I have missed this counter for quite a period, or rather multiple times. Right, but so when I miss the Kappa DC REIT, so I start to look for other counters that has the same type of portfolio that is dealing with data center. So this is where I start to, in fact, I have invested in this counter for quite a fair period of time. So this counter has also some portfolio in data center, and recently they announced that they are buying one more data center in US. Okay, and this is the Maple Tree Industrial. Okay, so Maple Tree Industrial, I have invested this counter since $1.97. Okay, and this counter has been moving on a nice uptrend, and as you can see here, based on the strategy that I talked about 2 weeks ago, right, we talked about looking for MA support when the stocks is uptrending. Look for MA support for entry. So in fact, the first entry was here, but it didn't really work out because this counter start to instead of going up, it slowly, gradually pull back to find support at the 50-day MA. So in such a case, right, would you want to cut loss if the stocks is finding support with the moving average? Over here, right, you can see that the stocks, in fact, it's finding MA support here. So in this case, you don't cut loss, okay, even if you see the stock price has been going down. And this counter is a very good fundamental counters. So therefore, it actually strengthens your belief that to hold on to this counter. And it holds on to this MA support for quite a few days before it starts to have a movement. And this is where you can start to have a entry here at 311. Okay, and today it starts to move up, hit the high of 328, but the closing is not as satisfactory because it forms the long upper shadow here. But it doesn't matter because the long upper shadow is not significantly long because the body is equally long as well, rather of the equal length. So overall, the chart is still bullish, and the next resistance to watch is in fact 3.31, and we can see all the indicators are quite healthy. right? For it to move up to 3.1, there might be not a big issue over here. Okay, so so these are the two counters that are dealing with data center. The next read that is very strong is this Parkway Live read. I think in my email I did mention about some trading signals over here, which are dealing with the breakout trade. Right, the stocks has since then has been gradually moving in uptrend until right it had a very strong breakout today. Right, the news about this counter is it has been added in some index. So when a stocks is added to index, the fund that added this counter into index has to buy these stocks. Okay, so it has to buy these stocks in order to add these stocks into its index. So this could actually fuel the momentum, upwards momentum, right? Therefore, help the counters to break out. And this counter, I believe is all-time high. So I think the next best chance is for it to go up higher and then pull back to some support level in order for us to long. So the next time when we are looking at this counter, probably is back to at 411 where it start to pull back, rest, and then start to go up. Then the question is, so since we have to wait for it to go one round to come back down, so why don't we, take some chance to participate in this breakout? Well, sometimes chasing in breakouts doesn't end very well because the moment you buy, right after you buy, you could experience sell down before it start to rebound. Like one of my clients actually chased on this breakout and went to buy at somewhere near the high. So of course, after you have bought it, you can see that the stock start to sell before it start to recover. So you have to have, this so-called patience to wait for the rebound to actually happen. Okay, so this breakout is significant. It signifies that the trend is continuing. So the next part is where you will go. So from technical perspective, if I were to do a short-term projection, right, this counter hit the first target and has a next target at 437. Okay, it's a very good counter, except that the only thing that I regret about this counter of not holding it is because, again, in fact, in my investment portfolio, I am monitoring a few good counters. This is one of them, Parkway Life REIT. The second one is Keppel DC. Right, they were not in my portfolio because of the yield. The percentage of yield is way too low. So that's why I did not actually buy them, right? But they are the best performing REITs. So as I think most of the investor in the market or trader, they don't really trade REITs for capital growth. They rather hold it for a long term to see dividend, right, return. But if you have a change of mindset where you like to trade the REITs, you can see that some of the REITs are really doing very well, right? You can start to actually look for an entry with the REITs as well. Okay, so you can see these three REITs are doing pretty well. So some of the REITs that may be doing well, just like to share with you. Right, this counter, Mapletree Commercial. So why do I want to talk about this counter? If you look at the chart over here, right, this counter has characteristics of trend. Right, let me just highlight all the lows. Right, you can see that the lows are getting higher. Okay, now at the same time, you can also see that this uptrend is quite gradual because every time when it breaks out from its high or resistance, it tend to be a subtle break, and then the stocks would tend to pull back to a low again, and then start to go up higher again, then pull back again, then try to go higher again, and then pull back, and then of course the next could be another pending breakout above $2, right? And then eventually it may slowly or gradually go to the level around 213, or if we have the uptrend still continuing, right? We can start to expect 2.23 to be tested. This is another REIT that I have in my portfolio, and this REIT used to be the gem of my portfolio, but recently, because due to COVID, the dividend yield has started to drop quite a fair bit. Right, the percentage now on the dividend yield yearly expected to be only 2 to 3%, because the REIT hold back most of the income, right, not to pay off dividend, just to help them to weather these difficult times. Right, most of you who know this REIT will know that this REIT is the owner of Vivo City, right, and this REIT is the owner of the business park, Pasir Panjang, right, the Maple Tree Business Park, right. So if we just want to take part in this uptrend, this is where you can start to position yourself. Once you start to move to a low, gradually, then we start to get in the position and slowly see this counter appreciate up to 2.13. Right, the uptrend is quite subtle, and if you look at the weekly chart, right, the other thing that I would like to look at is always the weekly chart. Right, you can see the counter actually has some support over here. This could be the reason why it is moving up. Okay, so you can see the 100-week MA and the 20-week MA, and there is a 50-week MA right above, just slightly below the 2.13 target. But if the uptrend